Hello, I am Brandon Chan, and this is my Lab 2 tape experiment. The purpose of this experiment is to create a charged piece of Scotch tape and to determine the magnitude and charge created. The first part of the lab determined if the tape had a net negative or a net positive charge through interactions with various objects. Overall, it was determined that the tape had a net positive charge because it attracted a negatively charged pen. By finding out the distance between the tapes when they repel, I can calculate the charge of the tape as if it were concentrated at a singular point. Then I use GlowScript to help estimate the charge of the tape as if the charge was spread evenly along the tape in 15 sections. The procedures in this experiment were the same as Lab 1, where we created a charged piece of U tape by ripping it off a piece of base tape. And then we had it interact with various objects like hands and pens to see what it attracted to and what it repelled to find out the charge of the tape. Then we used two similarly charged pieces of Scotch tape and had them repel each other until one floated, and then we found the float distance. Then we used that float distance and we said that the force of gravity equals the force of the electric field at the float distance to calculate the charge of the tape, which ended up being 1.167 e to the negative 9 coulombs. This charge was different from the computational model, which I coded this time, because this value is a representation of the charge as if it were focused on one point on the tape, while my computational model spreads the charge of the tape evenly throughout the tape. Overall, this lab was a great introduction to more advanced parts of GlowScript. This is my code, which if you take it to this link, I basically just plugged in my numbers, defined E field, and I also coded the calculations for the electric fields. This is what my code ended up looking like, and I found the charge of it was 1.597 e to the 9th in order to get the magnitude of the electrical force to equal the magnitude of the gravitational force. What if you had modeled each of your tapes as a single point charge like in the previous lab, compared the estimated value of your charge you get when you use the experimental data to produce a point charge model to the value you got with your line charge model? Why do these estimates differ? Which value is more likely to be closer and why? So if you look, the charge I found, which was 1.58 e to the 9th, versus my old model, which was only 1 point charge, was 3.69 e to the 9th. You can see that my value for Lab 2, where the charges were spread out, is lower than the value I got for Lab 1, which makes sense because the charges are spread. The value more likely to be correct would be the value I found in Lab 2, because in real life, the charge would be distributed throughout the tape instead of at a singular point. And that's it for my lab. Thanks for listening.